Well, hello, hello, hello. What's up to all my mountain movers? Happy Mountain Moving Monday, where mountains are moving and mountains will move. I know you guys haven't seen me in a while, but that didn't stop the mountains from moving. That didn't stop you from utilizing your dominion. And that does not stop the fact that you are blessed, as always, highly favored. There's nothing you can do about it. This is you. This is me. Still the year 2019, still the year of total fulfillment. And I thought it was admirable that I come to you today, because today is September the 9th, 2019. 9, as I was sitting there and I was praying today, and I'm at work and I wrote the date and I looked at it and I'm like, wow, 9, what does 9 mean? And when I looked up 9, 9 means harvest. It's fruit, it's fruitfulness, it's fruition, and it also means completion, right? Where things are completing. And that's almost proving what I have been telling you guys all year, that this is a year of completion. It's a year of total fulfillment, a year where things are coming together. Just this year alone, as last year ended, I saw God move in such ways, and this year He's continuing to move. And the awesome thing is, not only have I seen it in my life, but now it's starting to spread to the generations. Like, my children are being blessed from it. Even my ex-husband is being blessed from it, from mountains moving. But it's something about that number 9. And so I just began to look up 9 in the Bible. And I saw 9, the number 9, used a lot in the Old Testament, but a lot in Genesis. When I look down through the line of Adam, right? It was always someone lived 900 and something years, and then they begot someone that was 900 and something years, right? So that was completing something, okay? And then now he can move on to something else. I know that times can seem difficult and times can seem rough. And I know there's a lot going on, not only in the world today, but in the country today. And I found myself looking at the news, reading the news online, and I would say, Lord, this is a lot to deal with. It's a lot. And I understand that if you're here today, if you're living in this day and age, this is the dispensation that God decided you were to be born, right? We could have been born 400 years ago, but we were born today with all of this modern technology. And although there's modern technology, there's also separate spiritual levels, right? And it's almost like it's said, the bigger the level, the bigger the devil. But I thought about that today. I'm like, Lord, our fight is not physical. You remember when you were a kid and at the end of the school year, you had to worry about fights. Someone wanted to fight you and this and that. But that was a physical fight. And for a physical fight, your parents could show you some moves. Your older brother or sister could show you what to do. If it was a physical fight, maybe your older brother and sister, maybe someone could jump in and help you. But the fights that we're fighting nowadays, it's a spiritual fight. And so it's almost as if you're fighting what you cannot see. How do you fight what you cannot see? Right? And I know for myself, sometimes you get tired of hearing pray. Because when you pray, things happen. It's the truth. But in this day and age, the enemy wants us to believe that prayer is not potent. He wants us to believe that prayer has no power. And how does he do that? He gets us to judge ourselves. So if I'm busy judging myself, then in my mind I'm saying, well, my prayer is not going to have any power. Well, God is not going to hear me. God is not going to listen to me. And this morning, when I was on my way into work, I was just really thinking about, certain people that God placed into my life, those spiritual leaders, those mentors that I didn't even appreciate them while they were here, right? But I can look back and say, wow, God, I've met some wonderful spiritual leaders in my life. Now, they may not be people that are known worldwide, but when I really think about who they were and what they imparted into my life and what they imparted into the world around them, these were great men and women. And I thank God that they imparted something into my life while they were here. I thank God that our paths crossed while they were here. I wish I could have appreciated them more then, but sometimes we don't appreciate things and people until they're gone. But I was really thinking about them. I was thinking about a certain worship leader who he became my mentor, but even before that, I would watch him go into praise and worship, and it would consume him, right? He would become consumed in praise and worship, and at a time, especially myself, being kind of shy and worried about, especially in church, how are people looking at you, how are you going to be perceived, and I would, inside, I would want to praise at a deeper level, not realizing I was holding myself in bondage. I was in bondage. Anytime you can't do what, how do I say this? So sometimes spiritually, you may want to do things. A good example, you may be in church and you may hear a message, you may hear something that compels you, and maybe you want to react by shouting, maybe you want to get up, or maybe you want to clap, but you don't want to bring attention to yourself. Right? And so this person, I would watch them go into worship, and because it was so genuine, you knew that they weren't trying to bring attention to themselves. And because they were so genuine, it would make me want to worship, and it would make me want to go in deeper. Like, what place does he go to worship? What place is that? Right? And then I began to notice that even in church, when we would get into a certain part of worship, you forget your name, you forget what time it is, you forget where you are, right? And you're one-on-one with God, and I don't hear the music, I don't hear the person to my left and my right. I don't even know my own problems or my worries, or there's no fear, there's no, right? And then sometimes you come out of that and you're back into this regular world. But there's something about the presence of God, right? It's something about getting in the presence. We don't always, let me speak for myself. I can't always say that I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm going to wake up and let me just step into the presence of God, because that's not how it works. And there are times, there have been mornings where I woke up and I felt like the Lord woke me up, right? But it was almost as if I felt like he talked to me all through the night, all in my sleep. And then when I woke up, the conversation just continued. And then there's been times where I didn't feel good, times where I was going through, times where maybe I was upset and angry, and I didn't want to praise. I didn't even want to have a conversation with the Lord, because I felt like, why am I even going through this? Why do I have to go through it, right? I'm going to tell y'all something. Right now, some of you are wondering, why am I going through? Why is my money tight? How come I have no friends? I thought I belonged, but I don't. Why? Why, right? And I'm that person that someone would always say to me, why is it always you? Every time I look around, it's something with you. You're missing something. You're lacking something. Every time I look around, right? Why does sicknesses fall on you? Why is it always you? Right? And if you're not careful, you'll find yourself saying that too. Like, yeah, Lord, why is it always me? Why is it, right? But why would the enemy try a person that had no value to him, right? That wasn't a threat. The enemy is going to try someone that's a threat. He's trying because you're a threat. He's trying to frustrate you. He wants to get you off focus, because if you're looking at your problems, if you're looking at your frustrations, then you can't see your value and who you really are, right? If the enemy can just get you to say, why you? They don't have this problem. It's always you. It's only you. Then you begin to feel isolated, right? Come on. The enemy wants you isolated, because if you're isolated, then you're frustrated, you're stressed, you're hurt. That leaves room for sickness and disease and plague. You see what I'm saying? That leaves room for all of that. I'm here to tell you that as a person that had diagnoses, that lived with diseases, like I was born with asthma and lived with asthma. I could not leave the house without a puffer. Those close to me can tell you, I couldn't laugh for any period of time without wheezing. Couldn't take PE in school without having to stop and take my puffer first. You know, and I lived with asthma for so long. Asthma was literally a part of my life. I was born with it. And so when you're born with something, I thought I was going to die with it. Right? I thought we came in together, we're leaving out together. Matter of fact, I thought asthma was probably going to be one of the things that would take me out of here. I didn't know any better. Thank God he knows when we don't know any better. The day I realized I don't have to have asthma. Oh, I don't? Right? And the day I realized, I remember I said to my grandmother had outgrown asthma in her 60s. And I said to her, Grandma, what did you do? What did you do to outgrow this thing? What did you do to get rid of it? I think that's what I asked her. What did you do to get rid of it? And I was about 18 or 19 years old. And she said, you want to know what I did? I'm like, I want to know what you did. Yo, seriously, you want to know what I did? Grandma, I want to know what you did. She said, are you ready to do what I did? Mind you, my grandmother, she was a person who, I don't know if any of you have heard of the Back to Eden books. And Back to Eden is a book with all natural remedies where shows you different herbs in your yard and things like that. But it's a holistic way of healing. And I just knew that she had finally found a formula in there that, you know, she probably had to take a bunch of nasty herbs, but I was willing to do it because I was tired of asthma. I was sick and tired of living with this. Some of y'all just need to get sick and tired. Some of you need to get sick and tired of cancer. Sick and tired of chemo. Get sick and tired of taking medicine. Get sick and tired of doctors probing on you. Get sick and tired of it. I said, I'm willing to do whatever you did. And she said, okay, this is what I did. I prayed for other people's healing. What? But it's Grandma. She never lied to me. Pray for other people's healing. She said, you got plenty of people in this family with the same disease. Pray for other people's healing. And I said, okay, what have I got to lose? And I began to pray for other people's healing. Right? And it started in my family because I had so many asthmatics in the family. And it was probably 4 or 5 months in. It could have been less. And every day I worked at a bank, and every day some co-workers and I, we would go and we would play tennis, and we would play doubles. And the normal routine is we would get to the tennis court, we would get on the court, open up our rackets, and I would go in the corner and I would shake my puffer. And I would take my puffer and give it a minute and shake, take more and give it time. I'd hold my breath so it could get down in my lungs. And anyway, we're playing one day, and someone said, hey, you didn't take your puffer today. I'm like, you know what, you're right. And the next day we played tennis and the same thing. And I said, wow, God is healing me. Right, and then over the years, it started to come back. And I was thinking that it came back because I stopped praying, but what I didn't realize was it was what I was speaking. right? Because I was used to saying I was an asthmatic. The asthmatic was here's my first name, and I'm an asthmatic. That's how I was introduced. That's how I introduced myself. And because I was born with it, I identified with it, right? And even though I hated it, I identified with it because it was all I knew. Thank God again, I didn't know better. I can look back now and say, wow, I kept saying I had asthma, I was an asthmatic. And it wasn't until I began to have children. And I remember speaking of my children, like, I can't do this. I can't go through what I watched my mom go through with me. Can't do it because my mom didn't have asthma, my dad didn't have asthma. And my oldest daughter, she was about 2, and she had this asthma attack, and it was bad. I mean, it was just really bad. And I remember sitting there in the emergency room looking at her, and it took me back to myself as a child, laying on the bed, watching my mom sit there and look at me so helpless, because there was nothing that she could do but hope and pray that the doctors did their job, hope and pray that God would have mercy on me. Mind you, there's so many asthmatics now that I think about it, none of us died of an asthma attack, and so I don't know where it came into my mind that I would die of asthma, because so many of us live with it. But somehow this thought was in my head, and it could be a thought the enemy planted in my head as a child, right? Because where did the thought come from? But I looked at my child and I said, no. We're not doing this again. But I was sick and tired. Like, that was it. I was sick and tired. Like, no. You wreaked havoc on my life. You're not going to do it on my children. And I remember getting oil. And I remember I was mad. And I remember saying, in the name, Lord Jesus, this asthma, you cannot come back. And at the time, and I noticed she wasn't having attacks like she was. I noticed it stopped. And every now and then, an attack would try to come up on her. And I had to tell people when they would identify her as an asthmatic, no. She's not an asthmatic. She doesn't have asthma. And I had to tell her the same thing, time and time again. No. Don't call yourself an asthmatic, because that's not what you are. We're not doing that, right? And looking back, it wasn't me flinging the oil on it. It was me getting angry enough, right? You did it in my life. You will not do it in my children's life. The oil is a symbol, right? The oil is a symbol. The oil was a symbol of my faith. It was a symbol of my faith. Sometimes we need a symbol of our faith, right? And sometimes that's oil, and sometimes it's a cross. Sometimes it's your Bible. Sometimes you need a symbol of your faith to stand on. Sometimes you don't. But what I want to tell you, that especially in this season, right? Because it's 9/9/19. In a couple of weeks, it's going to be 9/19/19, right? I see a season of completion, a season that's going to come into full circle in 2 weeks. Imagine if in 2 weeks you stepped into your season and it came full circle in a matter of 2 weeks. I'm telling you, it's possible. I have a girlfriend who, we've been talking to me since last year. And she saw how it was activated in my life. And we're at work one day, and she says, you know what, I'm tired of this position. I'm tired. It was another one of those situations where, you know what, I'm sick and tired of not knowing my value. I'm sick and tired of working 2 jobs. I'm sick and tired. And there was a lot of things she was sick and tired of, right? And she said, you know what, I declare and decree in 3 days, in the name of Lord Jesus, in 3 days, I'm going to have an interview. And I'm going to have this job. And this is the salary I'm going to have. And she said in 3 days. And as I'm looking at what she typed, mind you, y'all know I'm all for dominion. Because dominion works. But she said 3 days. And I'm looking at it. And inside my mind, I'm like, whoa, she's going hard. She's going hard. 3 days. Right? And the reason why I say she's going hard, because if you say something out of your mouth, and you know how people are, you say something out your mouth, this is going to happen, and if it does not happen in 3 days, you feel like you're going to look stupid. Right? You feel like you have to backtrack. But she didn't care about any of that, because she utilized her dominion on the highest level that day. Right? Because what are we always saying? Your dominion has to work for you. Your dominion says it is what you say. That's what your dominion means. And even though I was thinking, she going hard, I don't know. All I could say out of my mouth, based on what I know of faith, is it has to be what you say, sis. It has to be what you say it is. That's how dominion works. I'm here to tell you, 3 days. Job interview. I think she had a couple of them in 3 days. And then when she had the 2 interviews, she said she gave God permission. You have your way. Was not for me, don't let me get it. Was for me. Right? And did she start the job in 3 days? No. It was less than maybe a month and a half. I don't even think it was 2 months. But in that time, she was able to quit one job, work a full-time job, making what she wanted to make. Oh, I forgot something else too. So as she's speaking this job, she's speaking the things that she wants to learn. Because it was a certain field that she wanted to go into. And so she said, this, it's going to be, she was specific. And even though when she got the job, she got into the position, and then it was funny because the enemy tried to bring fear onto her, like, you don't belong here. And I know we've all been there, right? You get a blessing, and all of a sudden you think, this is not what I thought it was going to be. This is hard. This is not easy. I don't know why we think next level is going to be easy, but we do. We want next level to be easy. Next level can't be easy because where's the challenge? See, we forget that the challenges from the level before it prepares us for the challenges on this level. So challenges are necessary. I used to hate the word process. Because to me, process meant you got to go through something. And I've learned that we have to change our perspective on process. If I look at process as